Torah Or, Parshas Miketz, page Mem Beis, top of the page. 3 lines from the top of the page. Okay, the Alter Rebbe is explaining that there's Chefetz Hashem and Dvar Hashem. There's the will of Hashem, and he says that's why Hashem created the matter. Therefore, in the Asara Maimonis, everything was Breshit Bar Elokim, Elokim, Elokim. And then at the end, he added Shem Yud Kei Vav Kei. Like it says, Hashem Elokim Eretz V'Shamayim, which means Hashem put in the name of Yud Kei Vav Kei. So he says, because the purpose of a Yid is to bring the Kedusha into the Tzura, into the Chaymer. In other words, to bring Kedush into the mundane. And then he said, we'll start there. That's why the Goyim said, this is where we left off yesterday. Where is their gods? Right? That's what the Goyim say. What does it mean? They say, Shebachines Elokus, Hubachines Aye. Aye means where. Where means it's far away. It's concealed. If it's right, like we said yesterday, if it's right in front of you, then you don't say, where is it? If you hold the keys in your hand and you say, where are my keys? That's, at get a certain age, that's what happens. The I know b'bchinas istalkus, that's the level of concealment. Because the Goyim say, Ozav Havaya Sa'aretz. The Goyim, there's a philosophy behind this, by the way. The Goyim say that Hashem created the world and left. On the contrary, their philosophy is, how can the great Hashem deal with a finite, low, corrupt world? So they say, Ozav Hashem Sa'aretz, Hashem left the earth. They say, as the pasuk says, Ozav Havaya Esaretz. They say, world is run by Elokim. God runs the world. Like even David Zor, they call Elokod Elokaya. They say Elokim of Elokim, the God of the God. So they say Havaya left the earth. The whole world is only that the world is a separate entity. God's out of here. It's all concealment of God. But the truth is, the truth is that it's really Yud Kei Vav Kei. But the Elokus is concealed. So Hashem put us, Yidden, in the world, Neshamis in the body, to reveal the Havaya in the Elokim. Or in other language, Havaya hu Elokim. That's the whole Tilim Parak of Hayom Rav Ayonis Ha'evchi Atzur Shemesape Bishvach Maila Shem Havaya. It all speaks about the greatness of Havaya. How does the Parak and Tilim start? Haluach Hashem Yud Kei Vav Kei. It's all talking about Yud Kei Vav Kei. B'teis Yisrael, all that stuff. B'shelamayil Ma'yom Rav Ha'evchi Atzur Shemesape Bishvach Maila Shem Havaya Hamei Shel Hashem Elokim, that controls the name of Elokim, meaning it changes nature. Umishana teva mitzur hachalomish, right? Ha'ivchi atzur, he turned over the rock. Agamoyim became water. That means by nature, a rock is no water. There's no water in a rock. So it says ha'ivchi atzur, because when you talk about Yud Kei Vav Kei, if Yud Kei Vav Kei controls Elokim, then it could change Elokim from inanimate to plant, animal, whatever it is. Shumi Seido Eish, with Tzurach Halamish, which is the source of fire. Umimeno Meitzimayim, and on the contrary, what comes out of the Tzurach Halamish? Water. Normally, the flintstone is the source of fire, right? How did the original fire begin? He rubbed 2 stones together. So, stone normally is the source of fire. What happened in the Midbar? That instead of Eish, it comes out Mayim. It's a contradictory thing. That's mitzad Elokim, mitzad nature. Then a rock is the source of fire, not of water. But mitzad Havaya, Yud Kei Vav Kei, so that controls Elokim. Because Elokim, which is nature, who batal legabe shem havaya meishalol, is batal to the level of havaya that controls it. Shu Yingili, Earn Tzabar, which is the revelation of Levukus, Shekshishmai, Kain Hu. What does Earn Ein Sof mean? It's infinite, Ein Sof. Elokim is Teva, which is Mugbal. It's not Ein Sof, it's not unlimited, it's limited. So what happens? That Earn Ein Sof, the infinite level of Hashem, controls Teva. L'chein Hayom Rav Hayonis. Therefore, the Yom ran away, meaning it dried up by Kriyas Yamsuf. So the Alter Rebbe is explaining the whole inyan of creation is Dvar Hashem, which is the Elokim, Vayem Elokim, Vayem Elokim. Then you have the Tzura, the form, which is Kol HaShechavit Havaya Asa. And he's explaining that what is the function to make the Tzura over his Gabris, there's an expression in Chassidus, his Gabris Tzura ala Chaimer. The Tzura overpowering the matter. That means the form controls the matter. The Havaya controls Elokim. Supernatural controls nature. Relative to Elokim, it's Machshava.
What is the difference between that and Nisim and Niflau?
Nisim means that Havaya controls Elokim. What's a Nes?
Right, so this is
But then you have even a higher level, Niflois. There's Nes, Nisim and Niflois. Yeah? What is Nisim? Nisim means miracles. To do miracles, you have to be a little bit higher than nature. Like it says in the Chassidim used to say, by the Alter Rebbe, Chassidim used to say, like the Rabbi bring it down. It's a gewalget nisim unter den Tisch. By the Alter Rebbe's times, miracles rolling underneath the tables. Miracles rolling all over the place. And nobody bothered to pick them up. That's the expression. Why? Because in order to do a miracle, you have to be one tefach, one handbreadth, higher than the world. Then you can control it. By Chassidim of the Alter Rebbe, it was a lefcha chochma, lefcha bina, 2,000 amis of chochma bina. Why should I bother picking up something which is a tefach, higher than world, when I have the level of chochma? Because world was created with midas, right? The 7 days is 7 midas. First day was chesed, second day Buddha. So why should I bother picking up something which is only a tefach, 3 inches higher than the world, when I could pick something a lefcha chochma, a lefcha bina? It didn't mean anything to them. So then you have a level of niflois. Niflois comes from the word pella. That means it's wondrous, even when the realm of miracles, it doesn't make sense.
that's what the Torah is talking about here.
Yes. No, so now he says like this. V'nei kasher yizbein v'yaskal kol zeh. If a person meditates into everything he just said, as I tich levetich sev nafshi, his soul will long and desire libat leilav yizbarach, to be bottled to Hashem, achetach beis pashit, that he'll want to remove himself completely mitainuge elam hazeh, from the pleasures of this world, and to transform his heart completely, to cling to Hashem, like it says, Mili b'shamayim. In other words, it says like this: the whole world, all the taivas of the world, comes from Elokim, Hashem's speech, Dvar Hashem. Then you have Ruchnius, which is a level of Yud Kei Vav Kei, higher than world. So when a person meditates, that the whole universe is finite, all the pleasures of the world are finite, compared to the infinite level of Hashem, so why should I want the desires of Gashmias when I can have Ruchnias? It's like in a mashal, a little kid will see like a bunch of gold and a bunch of candies. Okay? So a little kid is going to take the candies, obviously. Yeah? A more intelligent person will take the gold, hopefully. Can never tell nowadays. Okay, but that's in a very clear-cut, coarse level. But then you have physical delights versus spiritual delights. Like the Friedrich Rebbe says in a famous Maimon, Lemandas in Kuntreis, he says there's different levels of pleasure. There's eating and drinking. There's doing somebody a favor. Music. People enjoy music. Then you have the enjoyment of people. Some people that are nice enjoy doing people favors. They enjoy it. And then you have intellectual pleasure. Okay? Now, he says like this. Eating and drinking is mamash like an animal. So in other words, if a person indulged in the eating and drinking or all the other gashmistic things, he's not any different than an animal. An animal also enjoys eating and drinking. So what are you different than the animal? We're people, it's supposed to be higher. A more refined form is music. A more refined form is midas. A more refined level is seichel. The ultimate enjoyment has to be in elokus. So just like a kid is going to stupidly, so to speak, pick the candies over the gold, if somebody picks the gold over ruchniistic thing, it's the same baby, same stupid kid. There is no seichel. So he says, but in order to understand that, you have to meditate on Chaimer and Surah and Elokim and Avaya and Dvar Hashem. And so when you meditate and you realize that Elokus is Ein Sof, so why should I go for the bronze if I can go for the gold? So why should I go for... Yeah. He didn't pick the gold. He wanted to pick the gold, but he picked the coals. Okay. V'zayar Amru, and there says, Mandalay Torah Meriru Lemiska. A person who doesn't taste, or transforms bitterness to sweetness. Or mehapech chashechel, nor if you don't turn over darkness to light, lest the chulka has no part here in Gan Eden. Who can go up there to the highest of levels? Somebody who turns bitterness to sweetness. What is bitterness and what is sweetness? He says, Merida is the enjoyment of this world, v'tainugim, and all the pleasures that come from klipa. There's nothing doesn't have every physical thing here has a spiritual chamber up there, right? So physical pleasures down here come from klipa up there, the source of klipa. That's what it is. Even a little thing, like a mesalsa besari, who combs his hair to look beautiful. Then you get chayis. In other words, when a person is into worldly pleasures, where are they getting their chayis from at that moment? They're getting it from klipa. And therefore, therefore Yosef was punished that he was in prison 12 years because mesalsel besari, because he was, like it says, Yosef used to beautify himself, and Hashem said, your father's suffering by him over you, and you're beautifying yourself. So he said, big mother. So what happened? Right away problems happened with the wife of Fatifah. And therefore, therefore a person has to transform the heart. To transform it to sweetness. Like the Pasuk says, until look and you'll see that the Eibishter is good. There's a famous Fabrengen, Purim Tavshin Chai. The Rabbi took a lot of mashke then. But at that Fabrengen, a few times other besides that, but that was the well-known one. The Rebbe used to talk in a sing-song. The Rebbe had a chant when he spoke. So the Rebbe once just saying at the Fabrengen, he said, Taimaru ki teva vaye farzuch vetezen, as the Eibishter is good. Taimaru, taste, and you'll see that Hashem is good. And he said it in Yiddish. Farzuch, meaning taste. Vetezen, you'll see that Hashem is good. V'zeu inyan our korbanos, that's the whole inyan of korbanos. Shenapach chelev minefesh habehema. You take the fats, which represents the enjoyment, the juicy stuff. V'oilev v'nechel ba'esh shel hamayla. Asher teichel al hamizbeach, that is consumed on the mizbeach. Liyasi sheirech nichayach l'Hashem. When the Alter Rebbe was in prison, before the Alter Rebbe got into prison, so he discussed it with one of his great chassidim, Shmuel Munkus, who was known as the Alter Rebbe's jester in the court. He used to make a lot of things. But he's a tzaddik of Tanya, not a Beinoni of Tanya, he's a tzaddik of Tanya. And the Alter Rebbe, when he was being chased to be imprisoned, so he discussed with Rabbi Shmuel Munkus if he should go or not. So Rabbi Shmuel Munkus said to him the famous word, you should go. You should go to prison. And he said like this, if you're a real Rebbe, nothing's going to happen to you. And if you're a fake, you deserve it for taking away the pleasures of this world from thousands and thousands of chassidim. Because what's the Alter Rebbe doing over here? He's saying, what do you want worldly garbage for? Klipa, evil, stupidity, limitation. So what did Alter Rebbe ingrain in the chassidim? That's why he's chassidim. We're not into Gashmi. They couldn't kill us in the Gashmis. They're mamish into Ruchnis. So that's what the Alter Rebbe is saying. Ukmeik in tiyat tefillah. The same thing. The davening should be, which is b'makom korbanos, which is in the place of korbanos. Lahaliv nafshi ba'esh shel hamayla, to become inflamed in your nefesh with the fire from above, u'lesanig alavaya, to only enjoy Hashem, which is the transformation of darkness to light, is the darkness of the world, which is Ma'aseh Shemayim V'Aretz, which seem to be a separate entity, nothing darkness, which is not feeling Elokus, Yisapach L'Nehera, will be transformed to light, Li'ez Be'gili Eretz HaBaruch, that we should have the revelation of Hashem within us, Li'ez Yesh Batul Elav. The Yesh should become completely bottled, V'nigla Kved Avaya Lamata K'mei L'mayla. That what should be the goal? That Elokus down here should be revealed just like it is upstairs. I know how does that happen? Through the tasting, making bitter into sweet, which is mimata l'mayla lahafich, because that's what David. What is? Just explain. What are korbanos? You take the fat, meaning the juiciest part of the behema, the nefesh habamis, and you bring it on the mizbeach. Davening is the same thing. What is it? Mimata l'mayla, just like korbanos. You take an animal and you bring it up to Hashem. So davening, which is in place of korbanos, what is the whole davening? To meditate in the greatness of Hashem, and therefore, what davening essentially is like korbanos. What we're supposed to be doing is taking the fats, the enjoyment of the nefesh habamis. That's what davening is all about, meditating into the greatness of Hashem, that the nefesh habamis should only want godliness. It said, Elokus l'davka be'b'tshuka v'tzimonah, to cling to Hashem. So Yerad Avayim U'mayla Lamata. Then Elokus will be revealed from higher to lower. B'makom ha'cheshech shalei l'maza. Into the darkness of this world, that world will not conceal godliness, and that's what it says in Ner Mitzvah Torah Or. Mitzvah is so the Alter Rebbe says like this. The pasuk says Ner Mitzvah Torah Or, right? It's famous pasuk. So the Alter Rebbe said mitzvah is like unto a ner, Torah is like unto or. What's the difference between a ner and or? A candle, the flame goes up. Or comes from up down, like the sunlight, right? It's not coming from Omata L'mayla. It's coming from higher to lower. So mitzvah, which you're taking the gashmistika object and you're utilizing it for elokus, for godliness, so you're elevating the mitzvah milmata l'mayla. Therefore, it's called ner, because you have to transform darkness to light. So you can do it with a candle and you can do it with light. Ner is a mitzvah, meaning you take the gashmis and elevate it to kedusha. Torah is or. The Alter Rebbe is explaining why. Because or is taking Hashem's or, Torah or, and you're bringing it down here into your brain. So that's what he says, ner mitzvah is halom milmata l'mayla, v'Torah or is amshachah milmayla l'mata, right? And therefore, through ner mitzvah, you come to Torah or. You know, now the pasuk is not only saying mitzvah is ner and Torah or. Through ner mitzvah, by elevating, like Yaakov Avinu did, remember he elevated the rocks, by elevating the gashmias, then you reveal Elokus down here. In other words, through the meditation of davening, which is milmata l'mayla, therefore halachically you have to first daven and then go learn, right? Why? Because first you need the keli milmata l'mayla to realize it's Hashem's Torah, and it's not some book that I don't understand it, so Torah is wrong because I don't understand it. And what Torah says we listen to, even though I think differently because Torah is right, not me. That's the level of bringing down Torah Or. Now obviously, this is a very lofty level. But everybody on their own level, once in a while, can reach this level, obviously. If not, Alter Rebbe wouldn't be saying it to us. Albeit Adover, now the Alter Rebbe says to explain all of this. What are letters? We know Hashem created the world with letters, right? So he says, what are letters? Letters are divided in the formation of the mouth, in the 5 formations of the mouth. Like the Gemara says, not the Gemara says. Aleph Acha, it's called. Aleph, Ches, Hey, Ayin come from the throat. The letters Bump, Beis, Vav, Mem, Pei come from the lips. Certain letters come from the teeth. Certain letters come from the tongue. So there's 5 Hey, Metzor, Sapeh. That's why it says, Va'ata Mechayes Kulam, you. So what does Ata mean? Aleph and Taf. That means all the letters from Aleph to Taf, A to Z. And Hey represents the 5 formations of the speech. Va'ata mechayes kulam. What does Chassidus explain when you say those words? What are you thinking? That Ata, meaning the letters from Aleph to Taf, and the 5 formations of the mouth, the letters Bidvar Hashem, Ata Hashem, Levadecha, Ata Sisa, it's a Shemaim Esor, it's the same Ata from higher created the world. Atu Kedem Shini V'Reilam, Atu Mishini V'Reilam. It's all the same Elokus. They say the Chassidim of the Rebbe Rashab, I forgot who it was, that Petersburg, St. Petersburg, meaning the capital of Russia, didn't change them at all. Wherever they were, they lived like they were in Lubavitch, you know. The world meant absolutely nothing to them. And you find this even lahavdil by secular scholars, the brilliant inventors, you know, that their life was not enjoying life. Their life, they lived in poverty, they lived, you know, they were deprived people, but not they had to be, it didn't mean anything to them. Why? Because they were intellectuals. So an intellectual, why should an intellectual lower himself to animalistic enjoyment if he has intellectual enjoyment? By a Jew, it goes further because we have a neshama, it goes to godly enjoyment, not only intellectual enjoyment, but godly enjoyment. Vinay, ein meitzoras. Okay, so he says now like this. Ein ha-meitzoras keli amavat. These formations, like the throat is the keli for the letters aleph ches ayin hey. Bump is the lips are the keli. It says it's not like a kinor, like a harp. Shu keli anign, which is a keli of song. Shemenagin amnagin olav, when he plays with it. Meitzi curl. Shakol ahu bomin tunuas akinor shemeitis akol. When you play a harp, a musical instruments, the music is coming from the keys or the strings of what the instrument provides. Okay? In other words, by an instrument, you have to know what you're playing. You want to make a certain sound, you have to play a certain chord or whatever. By speech, it says it comes automatically. Or svasayim, because from the tongue comes the letters dalet tes lamed nun tov. From the lips comes bum. He says, on the contrary, when a person talks, it's not like a musician, you have to know what you're playing to create that sound. By a person, it comes automatically. Yeah, in other words, a guy wants to say something, he says, okay, now I'm using my lips, boom, or I'm using my throat. It's automatic, it comes automatically. You don't have to meditate in how to play it. Even a person who's so professionally can play like automatically, but it's still, they're concentrating on what they're doing. When a person speaks, the variations of the different sounds comes automatic. It doesn't come through avodah, so to speak.
What about someone who's not used to making that sound with their mouth? Like for Americans, it's very hard to say. But for non-Americans, it's very hard to say th.
No.
So they have to concentrate to say that.
Because, but it's not that, okay, I'm saying th now. It's the certain sounds that a person is accustomed to, but once you're accustomed, it comes automatic. It's not that you're meditating in it. Like music, even no matter how experienced you are, when you play, you have to know what you're playing.